Four-way all in.
I'm overheated, can hardly sleep at night, doing crazy dreaming. You're the reason why. I'm bothered, baby, losing my mind. Don't try to say
As you will know, I took last week off. We went camping, well, sort of camping. We stayed in a very nice house in a very wooded area. This is the view from our porch. Quite nice. Took one day, headed over to Yosemite Valley. Waterfalls were flowing pretty heavily. It was a good sight to see after all the drought we had here in California. Then we went boating with Zeus. He really enjoyed it. He didn't understand how you can be around so much water and not sink. So enough about our little vacation. I'm sure you guys are here for the poker. So let's get right into it. First hand back from our trip, we get Ace King in the small blind. There's a hijack that opens for 15. He's been fairly active. Here, I think this is a standard 3-bet to 60. He thinks for a while before putting in a 4-bet to 165. So first real hand of the day, we're already in an uncomfortable spot. Most people don't 4-bet without the goods. So I'm thinking he has at least ace, king, ace, queen, maybe a small pocket pair, queens, jacks, tens. If he has aces or kings, I'm in deep, yeah, you know what. So I got about a little over 100 big blinds left behind me. So for me, it's either an all-in or a fold. I like to be more aggressive first thing in the day, so I shove all in. He snap calls, and we go to a runout. Flop comes out. Nothing. We do have a backdoor flush draw. Queen of spades comes on the turn. River card comes as a blank. My opponent turns over pocket queens. So first flip of the day, we lose it. I reloaded for 1,000, got a table change, and right now we're down $760 on a day. But I pick up ace 5 suited on the button. I put in a raise, get a few callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop that comes 9-4 deuce with 2 clubs. No diamonds out there. But when they check to me, I figure, okay, I'll take one stab at this. If worst comes to worst, I might get a free card. So I go ahead and bet for 40. If I get played back at, I'll just dump the hand. And if I get called and don't hit anything, I'll surrender. Anyway, I do have a player that's interested in the pot, and he goes ahead and puts in the call. Well, now it's down to heads up, and just the two of us are going to see a turn card. As I said, I'm going to be kind of waving the white flag unless I hit something. And, well, I definitely hit something. I catch the 3 of spades. Best card in the deck. My opponent checks, and now I'm trying to figure out the right value to go for. If he has a flush draw, I think he's going to be a little bit sticky. If he has top pair, I don't think he's going to be folding to a bet. So I go a little bit bigger. I go 115. I'm trying to build a pot. Well, after some deliberation, my opponent decides to put in the call. So that's a good sign. I like people calling when I have the virtual nuts. And we're going to see a river card with 393 in the center. Well, the river is a good one. It's the 8 of diamonds. So if we were good before, which I'm pretty sure we're definitely good now. He checks it over again. Now, trying to get a little extra value. He only has 180 behind, so I make a shove and he quickly folds. Your example is the way most of my day has been going so far. I'm in the big blind. I get a free peek at a flop. Flop comes out, king high with a 9 and a 4. Not great. I check it. It gets checked around to the player on the button, who I am sure is bluffing when they bet out $15. So I go ahead and call for the 15. Turn card's a 4. I still think they probably have nothing. I check it over to them, let them continue to bluff. This time they bet for $40. Okay, I still think I have the best hand. They might be on some sort of heart draw, but other than that, I don't think they have much. So I put in the call for the 40, and we get to go see a river, which comes ace of diamonds. Well, that sucks because now someone had a ace high flush draw. They now made a pair. I check it over. I figured he was going to fire no matter what, but this time he fires a little bit smaller and compared to the pot than the other bets. I should probably just fold this just because it feels like he's trying to get value, but I stick it in. He shows ace deuce offsuit. Well, it's been a pretty frustrating day so far, but let's see if we can turn it around. Here we're in the small blind with 6-5 of diamonds. There's a couple limpers, and I decided just to raise the 20. I thought I might be able to steal it, and if I get caught, I'll have something to play with. I do get one caller. So the two of us are going to head off to a flop with $46 in the center. Looking for a good flop, and that's exactly what we get when it comes 7 high with a 4 and a deuce. We flop an open ender and a backdoor flush draw. I'm going to continue for $30, just hoping to get a fold out of someone with overcards. But they seem to be a little bit sticky, so they put in the call. So not quite sure what they might have, maybe a 7. Turn card comes is really good. It is a 8 of hearts, so we make the nuts, and now let's get some value. I make a bet for $70, hoping that he has a 7 now. Maybe if he has something like 7-8, he might play back at me. He doesn't think long before putting in the call, so I think he has a piece of it. Let's see if I can get a little more value on the river. River card comes as an ace of hearts. Might be a little bit of a scare card. He checks quickly, and before I can even get a bet out, he goes ahead and folds. So apparently he was on some sort of draw. Well, it seems like I'm only getting mediocre cards like here, Jack 9 suited. I'm in position. There's a bunch of limpers. I decided to raise to 20. Just trying to make something happen. Haven't had a lot of good hands to play yet. Anyway, I get 3 callers. So we go 4 ways to a flop, which comes out ace 9-9. Beautiful flop. They got 3 opponents. Hopefully one of them has an ace in their hand. All of them checked me. I decided to bet small for $25, and they all just fold. So no action when I actually flop a hand. Finally I pick up a good one. I got ace king suited in the hijack. Again, there were some limpers. I put in a good size raise, and I only get called by the one player in middle position. So the two of us will go to a flop with $50 in. That comes queen high with 2 hearts. Not a very good flop for my hand, but it does look pretty good for my range. And when my opponent checks, I'm going to go ahead and continue. I think my sizing is a little bit off here, but he puts in a quick call. Turn card comes as a good one. It's the ace of clubs. So now I get there. He checks again. I figure about 2/3 pot would be the right size. So I grab a bunch of chips and end up putting out $60. He thinks for quite some time on this one before making the call. So I'm not quite sure what he has, but with top pair, top kicker, I'm happy to see a river card which comes the king of clubs. I now make top 2. My opponent only has like $80, $85 remaining, and he comes out with a little bet of $50. What to make of this? Well, my fear is that he just made some sort of flush with like a queen of clubs and another club. But I'm going, why wouldn't he just stick it all in there? Well, I'm definitely going to be at least calling, but I mean, he only has like $35 behind. If he has 2 pair, I want to get value from it. And if he had more chips, I definitely wouldn't raise. But with only $35 behind, I decided, yeah, let's put in a raise, get it all in there. Just turn over my 2 pair like it's the winner, and he shows me 7-8 of clubs. So I kind of snookered myself into losing an extra $35, $40. That's the way the day's been going. Well, I'm still within striking range of being even. Here I have 7-6 of diamonds from middle position. I put in a raise to 20. I end up getting 3 callers for the 20, including the player in the cutoff who has been getting fairly lucky against some players and his stack has grown to almost $800. Flop comes out Ace, King, 6. Well, we flopped a flush draw and bottom pair, and we have the betting lead. So I'm going to go ahead and continue like I have something because I got some equity on my side. Bet out for $35. The cutoff decides $35 is a good price. I'm thinking that he might have some sort of ace or maybe a king. The other two players end up folding out, and we see a turn card of the 9 of clubs. It does not complete my hand at all, but it's still fairly good for my range. If he has a king, maybe I can get him off that card right now by betting $70. He goes into the tank again, kind of re-looks at his cards like they might have changed. And it looks like he's going to be putting in a call. So at this point, I think that he has at least an ace or he has a bigger flush draw. River card comes as a 6 of clubs. Great river card. I mean, if he had a flush draw, maybe I didn't want to get there. If he has an ace, I don't think he's going to be folding it now that his kicker will be a king. So I go a little bit big here. I make it 240. I figure any ace would definitely be calling here, especially the way I've been running today. I haven't shown down too many winners at all. Anyway, he takes a long peek at his cards before mucking them. He told me later that he had just a draw. Queen 10 offsuit, he said. Well, after about 5.5 hours, I decided to call it quits. Today wasn't really my day. Couldn't get anything going. The game was pretty good. There was plenty of action for the other people around me, but not much for myself. So I packed it up, came back the next day. First 2 hours, nothing much happened. And then this hand happened. I'm in low jack with 2 kings, make a raise to $15. Player 2, my direct left, puts in the call. He just sat down. There's a player over in the cutoff who puts in the call. He has a shorter stack. Now the big blind decides to squeeze to 65. He's been very active all day long, and he's not afraid to make a move. And at this point, I feel like he's making a move. So the question is, do I 4-bet him? And if so, how much? And I figured that if I was to 4-bet him, he would probably end up folding most of his hands because like I haven't played a single hand in like 2 hours and my 4-bet will look so strong. And if I don't 4-bet, I'm going to give the people behind me pretty good odds to come call, which decreases my chance of winning. That wouldn't be good. Now the player who's directly behind me just sat down and he's a little bit of a loosey-goosey action player. And I don't mind him calling and coming in. He does have about $375 in his stack. The other player's a little bit different. He's been playing fairly snug, and I think that if he has a hand that he will go with, he would jam, because most people won't put in approximately half their stack and then just to fold. I mean, so I'm thinking he might jam or he'll fold. I'm not banking anything on it. I just think that I'm either going to play this 3 ways or I'm going to play this 4 ways with him jamming. Either way, I think I'm happy with that. So my decision is I'm just going to call and let the other players come in. If they have something, there's a chance that the second player behind me will fold, and that'll be fine with me. And if he comes and plays, I imagine he's just going to stick a stack in because he has a very short stack. I didn't realize this at the time, but I thought he had like $130, maybe $140 at the most, but he ended up having $174. His stack was a little bit ununiform, so it was hard to tell exactly the amount. But he does end up jamming all in for $174. And now I see the big blind and his wheels are turning. He asked for a count and I'm going, oh man, is he going to re-squeeze this? If he just calls, I'm going to jam. But he beats me to it. He jams all in and he has me covered. He has like $1,300. So it's like $1,110 effective. Naturally, I'm in a very good position. I try to see if I can get some sort of read. I mean, really jam like this with aces? I don't think so. I think he would probably put in like another standard raise. So I'm pretty sure on my read that he's making a squeeze play here. So I go ahead and make the call. The player behind me says, well, I'm going to gamble. The pot looks like it's pretty big, so I'm going to go with it too. So now we have a four-way all-in with $2,800 in the center. And I got pocket kings. So I feel like I'm in a good spot right now. And the flop comes Queen 7-7. Turn is a deuce of hearts. River is a ace of clubs. My opponent in the big blind turns over ace 3 of hearts. So he made a squeeze play with ace 3 suited. Can't blame him for doing that. The other player who went all in had pocket eights. I never saw the player to my left's hand. Anyway, this one hurts. It hurts. Well, the game's playing big, so I reload for $1,000. Here, I'm in middle position with 9-8 suited. Player to my right opens for a raise to 13. I make it 45, just trying to isolate him. He does make the call for the 45, so the two of us are going to go see a flop, which comes out 10 high, 10-8 deuce with the 10 deuce of diamonds. So I got second pair and a flush draw, and a runner, straight flush draw. He checks it over to me. I'm going to go ahead and continue for $60. I got a pretty good hand. Tons of equity if he has something better than a pair of eights at this time. He does think for a moment and then decides to put in the call. Now, I haven't won too many pots today, so he could be calling me fairly light, but he probably has something. Turn card comes as ace of spades. That's a great card for my range, unless I had something like a pocket pair that I might be firing with. Anyway, he checks to me, and I just get a sneaking feeling that I am beat and he's not going anywhere, so I check it back. I'm only going to bet if I get a good run out. Well, I'm hoping for an 8 or a diamond, and instead we get a jack of spades, and he fires quickly for $150. Yeah, there's nothing to do here but just fold. I mean, pretty good flop, bad turn, bad river. He could have a multitude of hands that have me beat. So this is time to give it up. He did show me that he had pocket deuces, so I saved a lot of money. I'm glad he didn't play it fast. Okay, I hate putting this one in the vlog, but because it portrays me as a freaking idiot and probably the worst played hand I've played in several years. So I'm ashamed of it, but here we go. We have a player who raises to 15. We end up getting a five-way action. I call out the big blind with Queen 8 of diamonds. Flop comes 9-8-8. Good flop. I check it. It gets checked around. Turn card looks like a blank of a 3 of diamonds. I decide to check it again. Maybe this person will go ahead and take a stab at it. And sure enough, they do. They bet out for $35. Everybody else decides to fold. And here I decided to spring my trap. Maybe he has some sort of flush draw. Maybe he just has some pocket pairs. So I make it $110, trying to get some value out of my Queen 8 of diamonds. As I said, everyone else is out of the pot now, just me and the initial raiser. And he decides that he is not going to be calling. He decides he's going to be raising. And he makes it $310. So a $200 raise on top of mine. And here I am just thinking, can they always have it? They have it every freaking time. Only thing I'm thinking is he has pocket nines or he has the 9-8 of spades. Pocket nines or 9-8 of spades. Should be an easy fold, but I am so frustrated and tilted at this point that I decided to do something that I should have never even considered, and that is I jammed all in. I wish I can give you a good reason for why I did it. I'm just a freaking idiot. And as soon as he calls, I'm going, okay, well, there's the pocket nines. Well, at least I have one out. I can catch an 8. So embarrassing. River card comes as a king. I flip over my hand and he shows 2 black 9s. Punt. Well, that was a utterly painful ending to a very painful couple days. I don't think I played my best, of course, especially on that last hand. I can't explain exactly why I did what I did. I'm trying to forget that hand. Don't remind me of it. In fact, don't put any comments about how bad I played that hand, because I already know how bad I played it. And Zeus already knows how bad I played it. This is probably the biggest drawback about vlogging. Not only do you have to relive your most stupid plays over and over again as you're editing. You have to show it to the world so they can laugh at you and tell you how badly you play. So, yeah, I know I screwed it up, and it was horrendous. The pocket king's hand went down probably the only way I can possibly lose the hand was the way it went down. I mean, if I go ahead and raise and 4-bet pre-flop, I'll probably just win the $100 worth of money that's already in the pot, which is not a bad outcome. But I was shooting for the entire stack of my opponent, so I decided to go ahead and flat. I really felt that other player was going to fold more likely than he would be to jam, but he did end up jamming, and I was fine with that. And then when the big blind rejammed, I'm okay with that, but I would have preferred him just flat call, and then I was going to jam, and he probably would have folded at that point, and I would have had it heads up with the guy all-in player with all that dead money. But as played, he jammed all in. Can't blame him for doing that with a squeezable hand. He was just trying to isolate the player. I'm not going to be going anywhere. I play this hand just so I can get all my chips in the middle with 2 kings. I'm happy about that. Run out? Well, the run out wasn't good. So that's why you have a bankroll, and that's why you have some bankroll management, and you can handle these downswings when they come. And this has been the biggest downswing I've had in over a year, I believe. So this last week seemed like I couldn't do anything right. Everything I did ended up backfiring on me, or I lose the flips, I get bad runouts, and the hands I did make, I didn't get paid off in full. So such is life, such is poker. Anyway, I'm going to be heading down to Southern California on July 10th. Be down there for about 2 weeks in between LA and San Diego. Hopefully run a little bit better than I had this last week, because this last week sucked, as you can see by the totals above. And hopefully if you guys are in the area, I can see you there. I'll give a little heads up of where I'm going to be at on Instagram, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys there. And until next time, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you back here soon.